Okay, so today we're going deep on something pretty intense and personal.
Yeah, definitely.
We're going to be looking at excerpts from a YouTube video transcript.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Tory Lanez Dear Kai Prison Tapes,
Okay.
uploaded to his YouTube channel.
Right.
And, it appears to be a message from Tory Lanez to his child Kai.
Right.
And it was written while he was incarcerated.
Wow.
So, it's pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And for everyone listening, our mission today is really to understand the personal perspective and the emotions that are being conveyed in this message.
Right.
This is a father reaching out to his child
Yeah.
in this very specific situation, and it's pretty unique.
It is.
So let's jump right in.
Okay.
Right off the bat, the transcript starts with this simple everyday image, right?
Yeah, totally.
He talks about sharing spaghetti with Kai
Together, yeah.
and how he misses it.
Ah.
And it's such a small detail, but it just creates this immediate sense of longing.
Yeah, like normalcy and connection.
Exactly.
It's like those everyday things that he's missing.
Right.
So simple, but so meaningful.
Exactly. And then he addresses Kai directly. He says K.
Yeah.
And he tells him that he loves him.
He does.
But then he kind of shifts gears, right?
Right.
Almost immediately, he explains why he's not there.
Yeah.
He says it's not because he was wilding,
Right.
but because he lost a trial.
A trial.
Yeah, a trial.
Mm-hmm.
And was convicted of something violent.
Yeah, he's trying to explain this to his child.
It's really interesting how he tries to frame it.
Yeah, like separating it from something a child might understand.
Yeah, and then he just drops this huge piece of information.
What's that?
He mentions a potential 22-year sentence.
Wow.
And he says he couldn't even fucking tell you.
Yeah, like he can't even process it.
Exactly.
Oh.
And that really highlights the shock and the seriousness of what he's facing.
Definitely.
And then he talks about his decision not to have Kai visit him for the first 3 months.
Yeah.
He didn't want his 5-year-old son to see him at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's a pretty powerful image, right?
It is. It kind of shows his desire to protect his son
Yeah.
from the harsh reality of prison.
Mm-hmm.
It's a natural paternal instinct, I think.
Yeah, to shield his son from that vulnerability.
Exactly.
But then we find out that he actually brought Kai to the trial every single day.
Every day.
Yeah. Even though he had a feeling that he was going
to prison.
Yeah, and he mentions the paparazzi flashing and the public perception.
Yeah, he says public's at its underhand.
Right.
So there's this public scrutiny going on, too.
Yeah, there's this tension, between wanting to protect Guy from prison,
Right.
but also needing him close during the trial.
Yeah.
He says, I didn't know if I see you again.
That's powerful.
So that fear of separation seems like it was a major factor.
It definitely seems like it, yeah.
And then he talks about Kai's mother and the impact on the family.
Yeah, the wider family.
Yeah, he says, Mommy didn't know what to do.
Right.
Mommy started drinking more, but she hid it from you.
Wow, so you can see how this affected everyone.
It really gives you a glimpse into how his incarceration affected the whole family.
Yeah, this ripple effect.
Yeah, and the pressure that his mother was under, too.
Yeah, she was carrying a lot.
And then he brings it back to Kai's emotions, right?
Okay.
He says, will you miss Daddy? I know why. I just see it in your eyes.
Ugh.
All them little nights you cried. I can see it when you smile.
Oh, that's so heartbreaking.
He's really picking up on these subtle signs.
Yeah, he's sensing that sadness.
Yeah, and then he says, it hurts me to death when I look at you and I see my eyes.
Wow, so he's seeing his own sorrow reflected in his child.
Yeah, that's a really deep connection.
Definitely.
And then the transcript shifts to some of the more practical difficulties he was facing.
Okay.
He talks about Christmas and not having enough money.
Yeah, he says he didn't have enough money to give you a lie.
So they were facing financial hardship.
Yeah, on top of everything else.
And he describes feeling so helpless in his cell.
Oh, man.
Just crying.
That's tough.
He explains that Daddy bank accounts was frozen and his accountants left him.
Oh, wow, so that's why.
Yeah, so it's another layer of difficulty for the family.
Definitely.
And he even mentions feeling let down by others.
Yeah, he says everybody that told them they hold them down was suicide.
It's a very intense line.
It is.
It suggests this real sense of isolation.
Like being abandoned by people he thought he could rely on.
Exactly.
So there's this emotional vulnerability on top of everything else.
Yeah, but then even with all this hardship, he's still trying to connect with Kai. He talks about calling him and reading him a poem.
Yeah, because he ain't had no door to get you through the times.
Right, so it's like he's finding ways to bridge that separation.
It's really creative and powerful.
It is. And he says that Kai is his motivation.
He does.
You're the reason why I keep on fighting these powerful people in these crucial times.
Ah, that's beautiful.
It really shows how much his son means to him.
Yeah, he's a source of strength and purpose.
And he tells Kai, take care of your mama, you, my roller. Always know that I made you a soldier now.
Wow. Made you a soldier.
Yeah, it's like he's trying to empower Kai.
Yeah, give him strength and responsibility.
Yeah.
It's a lot to put on a young kid, but I get it.
Yeah.
He wants him to be strong.
Right. And then he addresses the separation again.
Oh.
Little baby, don't you cry. Everything's going to be all right. Tell your mama you a soldier. That's what I told you. And if she needs you, then hold her through the night. I know Daddy not there right now, and you don't know why. Make you wonder when I'm coming by, but I promise I'll be back for a little soldier. I told you I'm still home in the fight.
He's trying so hard to comfort him.
Yeah, and to explain something that's so difficult for a 5-year-old to understand.
Yeah, and to hold on to that hope for the future.
Yeah, still home in the fight, even though he's physically absent.
That's right.
He's still there emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
And then he talks about missing Kai's first birthday.
Oh, man.
I remember it was April 12, county jail. Daddy just wasn't there. First birthday I ever missed.
That must have been so hard.
Yeah, to miss such an important milestone.
Yeah, and the guilt and sadness that would come with that.
Yeah, and then he describes feeling alone and withdrawing from the world.
Yeah, shutting down.
Daddy felt alone and felt like no one's there. So he shut himself down from the world, and he ain't phoning in. I know that it only affected you. It was nothing fear.
So he recognizes how his emotional state affected his son?
Yeah, it's very honest and vulnerable.
It is.
He mentions Kai staying with Ashley,
Okay.
which he acknowledges might seem sus.
Suspicious.
And then he praises Kai's mother for her strength.
Yeah. Even though your mama came with drama, she was always strong enough to hold you up just for the both of us.
It shows how complex their family situation was.
It does.
But he still appreciates her resilience
Hmm.
and her efforts in caring for Kai.
Yeah.
He asks, I wonder how you really feeling lately.
Oh, so he's still worried about his son's well-being.
Yeah, and then he mentions Uncle Jay,
Okay.
who sounds like he was providing support during this time.
Yeah, that extended family network is so important,
It is.
especially in situations like this.
And then he introduces a younger sibling, Rico.
Okay. Another brother.
Also understand that Rico is your little brother. I need you both to keep each other's safety.
Wow. So now it's about sibling bonds and responsibility.
Yeah.
Looking out for each other.
And then the reality of his sentence comes back into focus.
Right.
He says, because they gave Daddy all these years, promise that I make it home till the day I make it there. Court case, 10 years.
10 years. That's a long time.
It is.
Especially when you have young children.
And he voices this sense of injustice.
What does he say?
No one can say it's fair, but that's how they play the cards. You
Yeah.
know, they don't play them fair.
Yeah, he feels like he's been dealt a bad hand.
But he also seems to accept it.
Yeah, he's trying to make the best of a bad situation.
And he keeps saying that he'll be there in spirit.
Yeah, that emotional connection is so important.
It is.
Especially when you're physically separated.
Yeah. And he just wants to block out all the noise.
Yeah, he says, all the shit I'm hearing about this dumb noise, I just want to get home to my young boys.
He just wants to get back to his kids.
Yeah.
And he ends with these messages of reassurance and hope for Kai.
It's a really powerful ending.
It is.
You can feel the love he has for his sons.
So this transcript is just an incredibly personal and emotional look at his experience.
Yeah, it's raw and vulnerable.
It is. He's facing all these challenges, separation, financial difficulties, emotional hardship.
But his love for his children shines through.
Yeah. And that's what gives him hope for the future.
Absolutely.
So for everyone listening, a key takeaway here is to think about the vulnerability and the universal themes.
Right.
This enduring bond between a parent and child.
Yeah,
The pain of separation and the resilience of the human spirit.
definitely.
It's a unique insight into a very challenging situation.
It is.
And that brings us to our final thought for today.
Okay.
In such isolating and challenging circumstances, what does this message reveal about the strength of family bonds?
Yeah. And the human need for connection.
It's a powerful glimpse into that dynamic.
It really is.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time.
Take care.
Okay, bye.